Thank you. Hello and welcome to the Circuit de Catalunya, just outside Barcelona for the penultimate race of the 2021 Spanish Formula 4 Championship. My name is Leo Gorman, and it has been a very interesting weekend so far, following a round last time out in which Delano Van Toff was almost completely dominant. A little bit less so this weekend. He qualified sixth yesterday, did manage a great start while others had trouble around him, and did come through to win that race. So he's notched up more points to add to his grand total. As we see the map of the circuit come up on your screen now, because this circuit famous for its annual trips with Formula One. Now, Van Toff has had a less positive grid position for today. In fact, he is 22nd on the grid. The qualifying session yesterday was rife with plenty, and I mean plenty, of deleted lap times. And so the grid is a little bit different from what we would normally be used to. As they come around the field, it's very quickly 26th, Lola Lovenfuss starting last, then Sebastian Ogier 25th, Ryabov is 24th, Pepe Marti, who was pole yesterday, starts 23rd, Delano Van Toff 22nd, Matzia is 21st, Enric Bordas is 20th after a grid penalty, Jorge Campos 19th, Garcia 18th, De Hughes 17th, Espirito Santo 16th, Malek 15th, Partashev 14th, Zanfari, Molina 13th and 12th, Kelstrup 11th, and Oxley 10th, Dimitrov 9th, Oliveira is 8th, Arkanchelski 7th, then Dengbal, Mitchell, Pinkasov, Jenik, Abramczyk, and Rick Cohn is on pole position on the right-hand side of your screen in the white and light blue car. And the final grid order is lining up. We have the safety car and the medical car at the back of the grid. The marshal is waving the green flag, and we are ready to go. So lights come on. You have 5 red lights, and it goes out. Abramczyk is slow to start. And Jenny Ricone does have a very, very good start. 18 minutes this race plus 1 lap. But it is not. It is Jenny coming through on the outside to try and force a way around Rick Cohen into turn 1, and they do go wheel to wheel. We see some tyre smoke in the first corner as drivers' cars lock up and fight their way through. Someone going slightly off there. I think that may have been George Kelstrup, who was starting in the upper midfield. But Jenny does lead from Rick Cohen. Noah Dengbal up to his 3rd place. Abramczyk is 4th. Pinkasov 5th. Good qualifying, good run for him this weekend as someone has gone off the track again. And we have a dive down the inside. That was Oliver Mitchell, I think, on Brandon Lee Oxley. That was for 5th and 6th position. Both of them having good weekends so far. As the field dials itself up now. We have Dimitrov has had, I think, it's gone off. He's maybe the one who's gone off and rejoined. He's fallen right down the order. He's down into 25th place. Problems for Enric Bordas. He is currently registered last and not showing any particular times at the moment. He lost several seconds. He's just come up on Sector 1. He lost about nearly 10 seconds in Sector 1, gone off and rejoined as the gaggle of the field comes around the back end of the circuit. And Delano Van Toff has made a fantastic start as they come around the, well, I can't really call it a new chicane anymore. It's been in place now for about a decade. Oh, and it was spin! We do have a spin, and it's damage. That is number 44. That is Espirito Santo. He got clipped from behind on the right rear. It has spun him around. His race is over. His visor is up. He is absolutely furious, and you can understand why. The yellow flag's out, and I think this will be a safety car because damage on the left rear corner of that car will probably make it quite impossible to move without slowing this race down. And he is out of the car, looking down at the damage, knowing that it is not survivable. He was hit by one of the Campos Racing entries. Couldn't quite tell if that was Marti or possibly Garcia. Yes, it was Garcia. Garcia has, I think, registered some damage. And it is a safety car. And as predicted, that is going to be quite impossible for the marshals to move that car with a damaged rear wheel in enough time to safely get it moved off the track before the cars come around again. Well, we had a safety car yesterday when Vladislav Ryabov had an issue with his rear wing and it pitched him into the barrier. And we see that is number 24. That is Alejandro Garcia going around towards the rear of the field. Now, actually, that is a separate spin for Garcia. So it was another Campos Racing car entry. So I may have done Garcia a little bit of a disservice there. Garcia did go around separately on his own spun. And we see the Renault Clio machine waiting to pick the cars up as they come around the final corner. Across the start-finish line, completing 2 laps of this race. Jenik leads. This is the highest he's been of the order so far this season. He has run relatively high in one race earlier this season. He was running in the top 2. Rick Cohn, currently second place, ahead of Noam Dengbal. Norma Bramchik is 4th. Miran Pinkasov, his best weekend of the season by far, it must be said. Pinkasov, who made his debut in Formula 4, but portion of the way through the season, right after his birthday, and so has far less racing experience in these cars than the majority of the field. And so it's taken him a few race weekends to really kind of bed everything together, put the laps together, get the consistency necessary to register good qualifying laps, register good race pace. And he has shown promise here and there, and you see a dreadful start there from the second position driver. That was Bramchik. But Jenik made a stellar start, came right through the middle. As Cohn kind of went to the middle of the circuit to defend, Jenik slid right through, came to the outside, held his nerve, and that is a very brave move, it must be said, by Filip Jenik, to hold his nerve right around the outside of Rick Cohn, take the lead, and you did see a lockup, and I think that was from Rick Cohn as he locked his inside front wheel coming into turn 1 in a desperate effort to try and hold that position. But Jenik just had the momentum to find a way through. Now, let's see if the T.O. Martin Motorsport driver can hold on. It is 12 minutes plus 1 lap left. We're still under safety car conditions. There's still probably going to be another lap or so for this race to get going, as we see the JCB removing Espirito Santo's damaged machine from the gravel trap. This is, as I said, this is a slightly slower process, and you can see the left rear tire, the suspension arms just hanging down, dangling really from the inside portion of that left rear wheel. And that is why it's taking so long to get this car. It couldn't really move it or push it or pull it out of the gravel because they would not really have got adequate motion from that left rear tire. So they've had to bring the digger out. They've had to get it tied up and lift it and cart it out of the gravel trap. And it's not just a case of getting the car out of the way. They have, the marshals and the JCB then also have to get themselves out of the way before they can restart this race. As we complete 3 laps, 2 of which have been under the safety car. And lots of weaving as cars going from left to right across the circuit, trying to keep as much heat as possible in this tire. Now, it must be said that even though we are in the middle of November, that it's not cold here in Barcelona at this point. It is 20 degrees Celsius air temperature. Sorry, 15 degrees Celsius air temperature, 20 degrees on track temperature. So it's not cold, it's not cool, it's relatively normal for an Irish person. But it is not so bakingly hot that we're having excessive tyre wear from that point of view. But on the other hand, we did see quite a bit of tyre wear towards the end of yesterday's race, as drivers really were particularly scrubbing the front end tyres and were sliding around towards the end of that race. Less likely for it to happen here, not just because of the safety car, but because this is a shorter race. It is, of course, 18 minutes plus 1 lap, of which 8 minutes of which have already expired. Ah, the sound, that beeping sound of a JCB going backwards. It's never a good sound. What I can give you is, under safety car conditions, a rundown of the field as we are. We are slightly calm. Let's take a breath. Philippe Genic leads from Rick Cohn, the poleman, second place. Noah Dengball is third, in number 77 MP Motorsport entry. Fourth is Norma Bramczyk, the DriveX, the leading DriveX entry. He's running fourth place. Mira Pingasov, he's fifth in the MP Motorsport entry, the young man. Ahead of Brandon Lee Oxley, sixth place. He's having a very good run this weekend. Good to see him up in the points playing positions at the moment. Guillermo Oliveira, seventh place in another DriveX entry. Oliver Mitchell, eighth place in the Tio Martin Motorsport entry, ahead of Zuleyman Zanfari in the MP Motorsport. He's ninth, 10th place, rounding out the top 10. Maxim Arkachelski in the DriveX machine, 11th. George Kelstrup in the MP Motorsport car, ahead of Daniel Matzian, the Formula de Campinos entry. He was pole yesterday. I think I made an error. I said Pepe Marti was pole yesterday. He wasn't. It was Daniel Matzia. He was pole yesterday, stalled again, had a dreadful start. He has had a number of very poor starts so far this season. Got a decent one this time around, but unfortunately not really where it counted. Delano Van Toff is 13th in the MP Motorsport entry. He won yesterday's race. It's going to be very difficult for him to win from there, but with Delano Van Toff and the way he's raced so far this season, you never know. Sebastian Ogard, he started right on the back row of the grid. He is 14th in the Campos Racing Machine. He is just ahead of his teammate, Alexander Partashev, I should say, at his 15th place. Gil Molina, 16th for the MP Motorsport team, ahead of Lucas Malek in 17th for GRS, 2 GRS entries this time around. Pepe Marti, 18th. He was second in yesterday's race in the Campos Racing Machine. He led for the majority before being overtaken by Delano Van Toff towards the end. Emily de Hughes, 19th position, the leading entry in the female class. Vladislav Ryabov is 20th in this race at the moment, the second GRS entry, Global Racing School team. Then you got Enric Bordas. He is running 21st, who's 17th, had a three-place grid position, dropped him down to 20th. Then he had a bad start, which dropped him right towards the rear, and he's climbed his way back up to 21st. Lola Lovenvoss, 22nd for DriveX, ahead of Dimitrov, who had a wonderful grid position and a very good start, but then went off on the first lap, and it has cost him about 1.5 dozen positions. He is now 23rd. Jorge Campos is 24th for Tio Martin Motorsport, ahead of Alejandro Garcia, who spun on the opening lap. And that dropped him right down the order. He was in the midfield. Now he is absolutely last at the moment as Manuel Espirito Santo, the only driver from this race so far who has retired. The MP Motorsport car was hit on the exit of the chicane towards the rear of the lap, damaged his left front wheel, destroyed his suspension. His day is done, and we're still on the safety car, and we are about to get going. The safety car has sped away, and Philippe Genic now controls the pace of the car. He's weaving his Tio Martin Motorsport entry, trying to keep a little bit of heat. He's also going to launch his way at the last possible moment, possibly take Rick Cohn by surprise, get a little bit of a gap as they come around the final corners, and he will go now. Philippe Genic exiting the final corner, and Rick Cohn is actually going to be looking in his mirrors. He's got Noah Dengball just behind. Dengball is going to try and get right under the rear wing. He pulls out. Dengball goes down the inside, but he is defending also from Noah Bramczyk. But I do believe Dengball is going to take Rick Cohn for second place. He does it. Bramczyk looking for a way through. Doesn't quite make it. Rick Cohn down at the third place. And Pinkasov fighting off Brandon Lee Oxley coming into turn one. He does survive that. Genic leads. Dengball second. Dengball is defending hard from Rick Cohn. He's only just taken the position off him as we see some changes for a position just behind. And it's Brandon Lee Oxley. Had a very good start. Pinkasov has lost a couple of positions. So you have Bramczyk really fighting hard to try and get past Rick Cohn. Now we see Oliver Mitchell trying to go down the inside of Oliveira. Nearly had a collision. That won't work well for you. And we see Van Toff trying to come round the outside. Not sure if that was Zanfari. It's actually Pinkasov has fallen down another couple of positions. This is not a good restart lap for the young man. A very good restart for Filip Jenik, who continues to lead. 1.1 seconds ahead of Noah Dengbal. Rick Cohn, the pole man, now in third place. He's fending off Norbert Bramczyk. It's several different lines. The driver's really fighting very hard. As I see Matsia taking a couple of positions there. And he's had a very good race so far, as has Sebastian Oegaard in that pack. Van Toff, in the meanwhile, has actually lost a position. He's dropped from 13th down into 14th. There's only been one race so far this season where Van Toff has not scored a point, and that was a couple of, I think it was Mordeland Aragon. He actually had a collision. Well, I think it was Matsi on the opening lap of the race, and we see, is it Bramczyk trying to go past Rick Cohn for third place? He does, and the two DriveX entries going side by side into turn one is Brandon Lee Oxley and Oliveira, and we do have someone going off. I do believe that is number 14. Oliveira has gone wide, loses the position to Brandon Lee Oxley. That is for 5th and 6th positions. Bramczyk fights his way back up to 3rd place. Almost had 3rd place from Dengbal at the restart, but he actually takes it from Cohn late on. Meanwhile, Jenik not too bothered by what's the fighting that's going on behind him as Cohn tries to go down the inside of Bramczyk. That's not going to work. Brandon Lee Oxley is trying to chase after this leading forward to see if he can get more positions, more points, and maybe finally actually get onto the podium so far this season, which he has not done. He has scored points, but only on a couple of occasions. Probably expecting a little bit more from this season, but he'll be hoping to end this year on a high and take that into 2022. Jenik leads, calm, cool, precision. Probably wondering what all the fuss is about behind him. 1.2 seconds is his gap to Noah Dengbal. And Dengbal, if he does want to surge forward and grab the lead, he's got to do it quickly. He's running out of time. There's 2 minutes and 45 seconds plus 1 lap of this race remaining. But Bramczyk, meanwhile, he's going to be chasing after Dengbal to try and take 2nd place for him. Now, coming out of this final corner, you can really see the drivers getting quite a bit of a draft and defending, going right across the circuit to try and break the toe. Not necessary on this occasion for Dengbal, but Bramczyk is noticeably closer. As they come into turn one, the gap is only 0.4 of a second. The trick now is to try and not lose as much coming through this long turn 3 right-hander. And drivers do noticeably lose quite a bit of time coming through that corner when they're following someone in front, because the front end of the car washes out. You've got to be very careful. You don't want to push too hard too early, because you will lose tyre life. As we see a move in the background, I think that is Zanfari battling with Arkachelski. That is over 8th and 9th positions. And it's a Bramczyk, a replay of a Bramczyk going through and taking 3rd place. This is the battle, and this is where Oliveira actually loses the position, goes right over that kind of sausage curb. You've got to be very careful not to do that. Land the wrong way, and it can do quite a bit of damage to your back. And that really is where Oliveira lost the position, and I do wonder why. I do wonder if maybe the stewards are possibly looking at that as well, because he did not quite rejoin the circuit in the proper manner. And by proper manner, I mean taking the correctly routed escape route and not driving clean over the curbs. As we see in the pack, everyone's still fighting very, very hard for position. You see 2 Campos Racing entries. That's Sebastian Oegaard and Pepe Martin, 14th, 15th place, battling with Van Toff for 13th place. That is something I never thought I would actually say this season. There are 3 drivers who've more or less been right towards the front of the field and not in the mid-pack. We are just over half a minute plus 1 lap remaining, so we have 2 laps left in this race. Jenik still leads us 1 second, but he's battling to break the toe to Dengbal behind. Dengbal has got a Bramczyk 0.6 of a second behind him, but it's Rick Cohn who's chasing a Bramczyk to regain that podium position. He'll be very disappointed with how this has gone so far. starting on pole position, dropped down to 4th. All I can tell you is in the middle of the field, that battle between the two Campos cars and Van Toff, and the two Campos cars have won out. Ogard now 13th, Marty 14th, Van Toff has dropped down to 15th. There's a lot of drivers just waiting really now just to get the final race of the season later on today in a few hours' time, as we see Rick Cohn going down the inside of it. Bramchick inside corner, side by side as they come round the following left-hander and into the long chicane. Rick Cohn does solidify that position and he's back on the podium, and it's got past Noah Bramchick. The penultimate lap of this race, there's still opportunities for Bramchick to get that back. Pinkasov, meanwhile, Miran Pinkasov, who was running very well, has actually reclaimed the position. He is now up to 11th place, having taken George Kelstrup earlier on this lap. And Kelstrup has also fallen behind Pepe Marti, who himself now up to 12th place. With Marti having gotten past his teammate Sebastian Ogard now in 14th. But as they round the final few corners of this lap, Philippe Jenik exits the final corner now, stretches his legs onto the start-finish straight, comes across the timing line to begin the final lap of the race. The gap is 1.4 seconds. If he just holds it together now, keeps it solid for the next few kilometers, he will take his first win of the season. As we see Rick Cohn trying to get it close to Noah Dengbal, but not close enough to pressurize his teammate and rival into a move. He will follow through. Then is the right and then left, turn 2. And then there's going to be a long right-hander again as he go around almost a spoon curve-esque parabolic type corner of turn 3. Then you brake hard, shift down a couple of gears into turn 4. There's a double apex right-hander, then downhill into Seat corner. Kind of lowish medium speed hairpin that brings them really back onto the beginning of the other half of the lap. Rick Cohn is still there. He's not giving up. Bramchick has fallen back a bit. You know, he seems to have really solidified that 4th position now. Brandon Lee Oxley certainly not close enough to challenge Bramchick for 4th place. But Cohn is still holding close. One last opportunity as they come down the back straight. Oh, and Dengbal has gone off the circuit. He's got his left side on the gravel, but is it enough to slow him down? And Cohn goes down the inside and makes it absolutely certain. A very, very decisive move there by Rick Cohn to take 2nd place, but that all came from a mistake by Noah Dengbal exiting the chicane onto the back straight, onto the gravel, slowed him down just enough for Rick Cohn to get a run and get a draft and dive bomb his way into the corner to take 2nd place. But it matters little to Philippe Jenik, who comes out of the final corner, crosses the line, takes his first win of the season. Rick Cohn is 2nd. Noah Dengbal is 3rd. Completing the podium, Noah Bramchick is 4th. Brandon Lee Oxley, 5th. Good effort from him. Glenn Oliveira is 6th. Oliver Mitchell is 7th. Zuliman Sanfari takes 8th place. Fantastic. Now, we do have a couple of incidents under investigation. There's an incident between Brandon Lee Oxley and Glenn Oliveira from a few laps ago when Oliveira went over the rumble strip. That is under investigation by the stewards. Also under investigation is the first lap contra Tom. That is between Manuel Espirito Santo. They're also investigating Partyshev, the other Campos racing entry for that, but also involved potentially Oliver Mitchell and Noah Dengbal for some reason. But that matters very, very little to Philippe Jenik, who has driven absolutely impeccably, starting 3rd on the grid. It was a sluggish start for Noah Bramchick. Rick Cohn, the poleman, defended against Bramchick, didn't defend against Jenik, who threaded his way through right through the middle of the circuit, straight into the lead. Battled hard against Rick Cohn coming into turn 1. Cohn locked up his wheels. That could so very well have been an accident. But it wasn't. Jenik held his nerve, held the outside line, which then became the inside line of turn 2, took the lead and kept it thereafter, and has won his first race of the season. absolutely delighted for the young man, the Tio Martin Motorsport team, who also incidentally won their class in the TCR race that happened just before this as well. So double celebration for Tio Martin Motorsport. As the field now pull into the pit lane. And this is the last lap move. Cohn saw how much Dengball had been slowed up by running wide on the gravel, and that really was the only opportunity left. And he made absolutely certain of it. Dengball, of course, is going to be a little bit disappointed by losing that podium on the final, or that second position on the final lap of the race. Rick Cohn will probably be disappointed, having started on pole, dropped down to fourth, and then reclaiming only second place. But this man here, Philip Jenny, he's not going to be disappointed at all. Fantastic drive for him today. And straight out of the car, arms raised into the air, puts his steering wheel back. And he goes to celebrate with his mechanics. A fantastic drive. And getting congratulations to from Noah Dengball in the MP Motorsport entry. And congratulations to friends and family. And this is a popular win. He is quite a popular young man. As you see the results coming on screen now, in confirmation there that Philip Jenik has won this race for Tio Martin Motorsport ahead of Rick Cohn and Noah Dengball, completing the podium for this race. Noah Abramczyk is going to be fourth place. And then in fifth is Brandon Lee Oxley, Guillermo Oliveira sixth, Oliver Mitchell seventh, Zulema Zanfari eighth, Daniel Matzi at ninth place. Good race for him considering how far back he started. Maximar Kaczowski in 10th place, rounding out top 10. Mira Pingasov started well. A mistake just after the restart dropped him down the order, lost momentum, and it cost him many positions. Pepe Marti 12th, George Kelstrop 13th. Delino Van Toff could only get as high as 14th, but he did take Sebastian Ogard late on. Ogard 15th. Enric Pornas 16th. Partyshev 17th, the Hughes 18th, Vladislav Ryabov only up to 19th from his low start. Lucas Malik is 20th, George Dimitrov is 21st, Lola Lovenfoss comes home 22nd, Jorge Campos 23rd, Alejandro Garcia 24th after he spun earlier on, and Gil Molina 25th, the final finisher for this race today. Manuel Espirito Santo, the only non-finisher, taken out in an accident at the end of the opening lap. Well, we're now at the stage where there is only one race left this season as we wait for the drivers to make their way up to the podium positions. What I can tell you is we have a provisional grid for race 3 later on today, with his Pepe Marti starting on pole ahead of Sebastian Ogard. Noah Dengball will be starting 4th ahead of Manuel Espirito Santo. Akin Chelsea 5th. And Zanfari starting 6th. And we're about to hear from Philippe Jenik.
Philippe, congratulations. You have led the whole race. How have you seen it?
Yeah, it was amazing. I knew I'm going to have a good start for sure on the outside, but I was quite surprised with the very good start we had, and I just led from start to finish. The safety car was a bit worrying because in Valencia I lost the win, but this time we learned from the mistake in Valencia and we just made our first win.
And how do you expect for the last race of the season?
Yeah, I mean, quali was quite bad, but after this one, we're going to take it with calm. We'll maybe expect rain, so we'll see.
Okay, thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
And that is a very nice chat there with the race winner. That is Espirito Santo getting collided with on the opening lap of the race, and on another spin also for Alejandro Garcia that cost him significantly. We had a long safety car period as we struggled to remove Santos' car from the gravel trap. But Jenny continued to lead well as Noah Dengball fought off Rick Cohn and Bramchick, who was in 4th place. We had a battle between the DriveX entries of Guillermo Oliveira and Brandon Lee Oxley over 5th and 6th position. That would have hurt Oliveira quite a bit. And there's a replay of that. And it was also a moment where Abramczyk got past Rick Cohn. But Rick Cohn returned the favour some laps later before he challenged Noah Dengball for the 2nd position laid on. And it was looking like a pretty solid 2nd position for Dengball before he made a mistake on the final lap of the race. Went off in the gravel on the back straight, and it gave an opportunity for Rick Cohn to dive down the inside towards the end of the lap. But it did not matter to Filip Jenik, who took the race win, led every single lap from 3rd place. A fantastic effort from the young Serbian driver. And waiting to see now if we get a podium celebration. It'll just take a few minutes for the drivers to complete the formalities in the paddock, getting weighed, going through Parc Ferme, then up the stairs, and you can really see it's where the Barcelona sign is, near the Repsol sign. That is near enough where the podium is situated. You're going to go up the stairs and then around a few sections before you can actually get there. Just to continue for the grid for race 3 later on, 7th is going to be Ryabov ahead of Vantov, who's been a bit on and off this weekend, it must be said. Rick Cohn is going to be starting 9th ahead of Guillermo Oliveira. Alejandro Garcia will be starting 11th ahead of Enric Bordas. Lucas Malik will be starting 15th. Race winner from this, Filip Jenik will be starting 14th. Gil Malera 15th. Oliver Mitchell will be starting 16th. George Kelstrup 17th. Miran Pinkasov starting 18th. Noma Bramczyk will be starting 19th. Daniel Matzia starting 20th. George Dimitrov will be starting 21st. Brian Lee Oxley will be starting 22nd. Lola Vost will be starting 23rd. Jorge Campos starting 24th. Emily De Hughes starting 25th. And last will be Alexander Partashev starting 26th on the grid. That is for later on today. That is in a couple of hours' time as we go to the podium. And Noah Dengball, 3rd place. And Rick Cohn taking 2nd position on the order. And we're waiting for Filip Jenik. And it's good effort for Jenik. He has had a podium, as I said earlier on this season. And that was at Valencia. He took a 3rd place. For Rick Cohn, it is his best finish up the season. He's at a couple of podiums already. Noah Dengball, this is his 4th podium of the season, having had a 2nd and 2/3 already. But now, the Serbian national anthem for the race winner, Filip Jenik. Congratulations to Filip Jenik. Getting the trophies to, it's his 1st win of the season. It's also actually the 1st win of the season for Teo Martin Motorsport. We've had not necessarily the easiest of seasons so far. Oliver Mitchell, one of the other drivers in the team, has not scored points so far this season. And Jorge Campos, who actually started the season a little bit late, has scored 3 points with a 9th and a 10th so far this season. And Filip Jenik has generally been the outstanding performer from the team so far. But it's been difficult, kind of just outside the points, or generally positions finishing in the lower points order with that 1 podium, as I said earlier on, in Valencia. But this is a real step up. He took a points paying finish yesterday. He finished 8th. Well, 8th is, well, first is definitely a step up from there. As the podium gets laid once again. This is going to be for the rookie celebrations. Which, of course, again, will also go to Philippe Genick. And a second cap. And it must be said, he drove very, very, very well today when the race was going. And he timed his safety car restart absolutely perfectly. The way he just kind of held ahead of the MP Motorsport drivers and kind of held them up really very much, and then properly launched as he came out of the final corner. And it worked very well in the sense that Rick Cohn and Noah Dengball were kind of eyeing each other up as we see Emily de Hughes on the top step of the podium for the female trophy. Which I do believe I don't have points for that at the moment. I think she is leading from Lola Lovenfrost. Yes, she is. And I do believe that will actually win the female championship trophy for Emily de Hughes. Meanwhile, the panic clears as we see replay from today's race. Slow start from Nova Bramczyk. A decent start by Rick Cohn, but an even better start for Philippe Genick, who went from 3rd into the lead. And as we saw Nova Bramczyk trying to regain positions and a real gaggle of cars in the midfield, but it was even worse for Espirito Santo, who got tipped around by one of the Campos entries in the final corner, but also Alejandro Garcia got spun around in one of the other Campos entry drivers. That brought out the safety car as the marshals worked to clear the stricken MP Motorsport entry, but upon restart, as I said, Genick just pulled away while the two MP Motorsport entries fought amongst themselves, and Noah Bramczyk to try and hold in 2nd and 3rd place. It was Dengball who took the gap and tried to go after Genick, but just didn't quite have the pace for him there. It was also a fight between two DriveX entries, Brandon Lee Oxley and Guillermo Oliveira for 5th and 6th position. Oliveira losing out there. Bramczyk had got past Cohn, but then Cohn fought back to retake 3rd place. And then coming on the final lap of the race, Noah Dengball had a mistake coming onto the back straight, brought him onto the gravel, 2 wheels onto the gravel, and that slowed up his progress, allowing Rick Cohn to dive through and retake 2nd position with only 3 or 4 corners remaining in the race. Didn't matter to Philippe Genick. He was out ahead, well ahead of the opposition, and took the win with relative ease in the end ahead of Rick Cohn, Noah Dengball and Noma Bramczyk. Thank you for watching race 2 of Spanish Formula 4 this weekend. We'll see you in a couple of hours' time for race 3.